that there's something blocking you back. And that's where I dig into what are some limiting beliefs, what are some things that have happened in the past that are holding you now, right? There are a couple of questions I can ask which can bring out that. But to be very honest, you can't pick, like a parent cannot just pick their child and bring into a coaching hall and say, coaching, right?
You have to be
you need to
ready,
collaborate.
open,
You need to be open to it, which would really help the process, because then I'm just pushing something down your throat, which in the end you will not even utilize. Right? And that's where the problem is that it's not sports coaching where you just get someone on your pitch and somebody kicks you and say you have to go and shout at you. No, a coach is actually a partner working with you. The first step is when you come into a coaching call is that, I want to be able to understand that you actually want to collaborate in coaching. And that's why you will sign a coaching agreement. And part of that coaching agreement is actually going through some terms and conditions of coaching. You should be open to it, because it's not for everybody. Some people just need outright, mentoring or just consulting. They don't need coaching. And that's fine
too, right?
That's fine too. So now in going deeper and understanding some things that are holding, that's exactly what we're trained for. Is that, one, we've established that this person wants coaching. Two, we've discovered there are a couple of things that are so many things holding the person back, right? And that's where I can definitely, I've been mentioning tools, be able to probe a little deeper to be able to find out that. And you will be surprised that there's some things that are happening inside of you that you don't even know until some of those questions hit you and say,
they prompt you to think about.
I never thought about this, right? And then you are answering the things that were inside of you that you never thought you had. And to me, that's where our skills come in. But we don't force people into coaching just because we want to coach them. Then I don't think we'll be doing our job well at all.
You did mention accountability, which again ties a little bit to the conversation that you were just having. But I think another question that I had was who determines if a coaching session is successful? How do you see success in coaching?
That's a really, really good question. So one of the things I mentioned earlier, if you remember, is actually a coaching agreement. Is in that coaching agreement, we need to agree on some terms, and one of them is accountability. Right? Some things which you need to agree that you'll be accountable to yourself. That I'm your accountability partner, which means you have somebody checking on you. Right? So if I say, okay, I'll do this in 3 days, it's you saying it. So you're first accountable to yourself. And then I'm your partner to be able to check to see that what you agreed to, you're actually following through with that. That's a really big one. It's actually being able to set some terms on accountability. But being able to move forward from there to something else is actually the tools that the coaches use. In the beginning of not every session, but let's say, a coaching can take a couple of sessions. Most often, the coaching might last for like 6 months. A really good coaching to be able to achieve a goal. The coaching is not just one-off session. It would start the process because it's a process altogether. It might last for like 6 months. And let's say in the first coaching session, one of the things I'll do is be able to evaluate the problem. I can definitely ask you the question to say, as long if you're looking at this goal that you want to achieve between 1 and 10, where would you say you find yourself
right now? Right.
So you can say, I'm just at a 2. And let's say when we've gone through a couple of sessions, I need to evaluate to see that movement. And that's where that evaluation comes in. Right. So we're able to see, okay, based on that goal that we set 3-4 months ago in the middle, I might ask you, where do you find yourself right now? Right. And then I might ask you as well, what has caused that shift? Right. Then that's where you will start thinking about just psychological movements that has moved you from a 1 maybe to a 5 maybe to an 8 right now. And then as we fine-tune, and that's where now we go to execution. So what are some of the things you could do to be able to attain this goal, right? We come now into what we call action plan. Right? We have an action plan as to things, and that's where the accountability too comes in. Because once you set actions that you need to be able to attain, you need an accountability partner to follow through. And we all know we're human beings. Sometimes I say, I'll go to the gym 3 times a week.
The gym is usually full after New Year's because everyone has taken their New Year resolution and we're going to start working out. Then the first few weeks and then it starts going down. So who really needs a coach?
That's another really good question. Everybody needs a coach. Even me sitting here, as,
a coach needs a coach.
There's so many things we go through in life, so many objectives, so many goals that we want to achieve, and I can't coach myself.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So I need a coach, and I actually have a coach who actually coaches me. Everybody needs a coach, and it depends on what you need a coach for, right? I might need a coach for, for my business or the direction I'm going with my business, right? You might need a coach, maybe just a wellness coach for you want to lose weight or lose a couple of pounds, or you might need a coach for maybe for this Idle Park show to be able to look at the direction of Idle Park show, how to grow maybe your YouTube viewers. Right, online right now. So people need coaches for everything, and we all as individuals have things we want to work on. And to be very honest, we have partners, we have friends, but they have an extent that can support us. We need a professional to support us. So everybody needs a coach. And for me, my own niche is strategy. I'm a personal business coach, but one of the things I use strategy techniques because it's part of my training. It's just trying to be able to make specified and clearly defined direction amongst a couple of options that could be able to position you in a better place to succeed and win. So that's the way I look at my own strategies, making a intentional decision and direction that could position you in a place that could enable you to achieve your dream. And any person can benefit from a strategy coaching.
I was going to ask, I think coaching for me is something that I have come to know in the past couple of years. Do you have any reason, or have you had any conversations as to why coaching is becoming a very mainstream kind of profession now? Because I think 10, 15, 20 years ago,
it wasn't very popular.
I don't think I heard a lot about it. It might have existed. I know, of course.
Not professionally,
but I mean, like have an individual having a coach per se. Why is it becoming more popular these days?
I will agree with you 100%. In the recent years, coaching has developed beyond leaps and bounds. Almost every company now, in one way or another, either needs a coach temporarily or permanently. And you have to also remember that over the years, lots of leadership and management styles was mostly directional, what we'll look at like dictatorial, which means it was mostly
top-down,
boss, top-bottom type of style. But all of that has changed. Times have changed, the years have changed. Most leaders, executives, individuals, we need a different style of management. We need a different style, even to manage our homes, right? And most of you have spouses, right?
You're right about that.
You can actually imagine if many years back, if you guys were married in Cameroon, the way you will lead your home as husband now. And can you look at that difference between that time and now you living in Canada? You try that, you're off your door. Next day, right? You have your things off your door because it doesn't work that way anymore. And over the years, things have changed. We've even had, internet has grown over time. And many things have changed, and that's exactly how the need for coaching has actually grown. And many more people are actually embracing the need of a professional coach to be able to support them. And the goals we used to achieve 10 years ago, I know the goals we achieve now. Our goals are bigger.
I'm here thinking to myself, over the years, as times has changed and people have gotten more freedom, people have tons of options. There seems to be more need of coaches. I don't know if you've read about the paradox of choices. People are suffering from variety, and then there's a lot of noise, and I think it's important for you to be able to silence all these noises, and then to be able to have a focus on where to go, because you go everywhere, everyone is telling you what to do or what not to do, how to live or how not to live. How do you be able to quiet all those things? When we didn't have these options, we didn't have these problems.
I agree with you 100%, and that's, if you notice, one of my illustrations was about silencing the noise. One time when I just came in, we talked about the tons of information that we receive. Social media, Facebook, it's just so much.
Just too much.
Sometimes you might even have an idea, but you watch a YouTube video, a
It-
Facebook video,
yeah.
and it switches you completely.
Yeah.
Or you might just even watch a video your friend shares, and you imagine that's the best option, right? We are tons of information,
Right.
tons of options at this point in time, and then you really need the service of a professional sometimes to be able
Yeah.
to help you, direct you, and walk around that goal. I think the biggest piece is really that form of accountability that
Right.
comes in the end, because we cannot work on goals, but to be very honest, sometimes we throw our own accountability.
Yeah.
Because no matter what it is, we can push it forward for the next 10 years before we realize we're even very old, that we
Yeah.
can't even attain them anymore. So really, I agree with you 100%. Really silencing the noise and being able to focus on
Yeah.
achieving a goal. It's a no-brainer
It's great,
for
yeah.
having a professional coach.
Question for you, and you can agree or disagree with me on this. So will you agree or disagree with the assertion that there is not a lot of diversity in your profession? I do not see many black people or many people of color. Any idea why that is? I mean, you're the only personal and
Yeah.
business coach that I know who is a person of color who is a minority. Why is that?
Yeah, I would agree with you. And also I think it's also, look into our history and a couple of things that relates to our history. It's not just coaching. There are lots of evolving businesses that you not see lots of people of color. And then look into our community, right? For me, I have been privileged to have been working with a national company in Canada for a while who has actually made use of my services. But just imagine if I was supposed to be mostly within the Cameroonian community and just get certified as a coach, right? What do you think my business would look like?
Yeah.
I would struggle,
Yeah.
to be very honest. So sometimes, people also focus a lot on what, how easy they will build within their community. And also, we live in a society where, a minority of people of color, we need to raise our hands, which means you can't just sit
down,
farm,
yeah.
right?
Do
need to
you
raise
find,
your hand.
sorry to interrupt, do you find that's a problem with us, that we are sometimes self-limiting?
Yes, I will agree. We're very self-limiting. And these are some of the advantages of having a personal and professional coach. And I talked about, regular life that's not stimulating,
Right.
Based on books, will definitely use 10 to 15% of their brain capacity.
Right.
So we are self-limiting because sometimes I in as much as I agree with, there's some amount of racism, discrimination, I think we take it as an excuse.
Yeah.
So
And I agree
we
with
don't
you.
dare enough, right? We look at certain areas. We want the areas that are quick money, which means, okay, I can just jump into this.
Easy.
Something can work, and we know of professions like that
Right.
many people of color have preferred, as opposed to some other professions that are really thriving, and that would not just give them money, but create an impact, right? And I also find out as a problem is that we would settle that for less just
Right.
because I'm a person of color. I would just focus on this.
And on a personal, I find that really frustrating. When I talk to people that look like me, you have all these excuses. And what I find is people give a lot of outside excuses. They try to take on outside responsibilities when personal responsibilities people are not really taking. Do you find that? Someone would like to focus on Black Lives Matter. Someone would like to focus on women's issue. And those are all good causes to focus. But they really don't have a personal impact in your life. Like, how does that move you to achieve your next goal? How does that make you to be the next better person? Because those are outside organizations, and it's easy. It's easy to focus on climate change, on female feminism. It's easy to focus on black issues. But at the end of the day, when it's just a wave, when that dissipates, what happens in your life? You're still stuck where you are. You haven't really moved an inch in personal improvement. Do you come across that?
Yeah, and that's true. Charity begins at home.
Right.
If you want to create an impact, you have to look for where to be able to find
Right.
that impact right from your own personal life,
Right.
a couple of things you do to impact, around you, the profession you choose, and most of those sort of things. I'm a community builder. I lead some other community, organizations right there in Calgary, which I enjoy those those things to be part of them. But as you said, despite being part of that, you also need to be able to build yourself. Right? You need to build yourself. You need to be able to choose those areas where you can impact lives.
Right.
Yeah. It's not just about, I'm a person of color, because to be very honest, we live in a society where you can be anything. Right, you can be a prime minister if you really work hard. Hard work pays. To me, that's what I said. It's not, most of the things, that I have, so far been blessed to achieve in terms of the leadership roles I've held. I don't think I sat in my room and then somebody came and knocked on my door and told me, come and lead this organization or come and lead this process. I worked hard.
Right.
So, and to me, that's what I always encourage people of color is that if there's something you want to do, go for it.
Right.
Go after it. Go after it with all of your heart. Sometimes you might fail, but we only learn by failing.
And I think we should make it very clear to our audiences, to our audience here, that we are not disputing the fact that there are many people of color who have tried, who have worked hard and have made strides, and who have failed, not because of their incapacity to be successful, but because they are societal issues like racism and discrimination out there. Because when we speak like this, people might hear and feel like we minimize those cases. There are cases where people have worked hard and have been unsuccessful, not because of their incapacity, like I said, but just because of those circumstances. However, there are also cases of people who have chosen to not make any effort because they anticipate the challenges that they would face, right? And you just mentioned that a part of your work has been to work with professional immigrants and be able to help them achieve their professional goals here, which is something very important. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about that and tell us how Doping and Co. coaching has been part of that process, and some maybe a success story if you can talk about any of that.
Yeah. So one of the things that always gladdens my heart is, when I see, a physician, a dentist that was working as a cashier or simply just working in a warehouse in Canada that finally succeed to work within that profession. My role, especially within my, the organization that I lead, has mostly been to train the people that actually support these people. So most often as professional coaches is be able to put the people that are supporting the professionals within the right mindset and giving them the tools to be able to support them. And being a manager of an organization and then being a CEO of Doping and Co. has really been part of that partnership. It's mostly being able to craft programs for the client success coaches that have been working with these individuals that are professionals. And the organization I work for has done really a marvelous job, because one of the things they do is an entire program. It's not just giving them money. Yes, they give them money that they'll pay back. But the ideal situation is that they build a program for them. They give them financial literacy. Part of the programs we build some e-learning tools for them to be able to support them through that process. Then we refer them. We have partners, which are community organizations funded by the government. We refer them to partner institutions that actually takes them through that process. And the success stories have abound. Like if you go to Doping and Co.'s website, one of the key things you see a couple of client success coaches that actually give their personal experience as to how Doping and Co. supported them through that process. Because as professionals, they were, they needed some tools to be able to work as a person. And just impacting other people's lives, they needed some training and some tools that was drafted for them to be able to work with these individuals that we now call them success story for the organization that I work and partner with.
Right. So how do people find you? If someone's looking for Doping and Co.
Thank you. The easiest way to be able to get some information about Doping and Co. is just go to Ndoping, which is NDOPINGCO.com. So dopingco.com is our website. One of the channels we run regularly is our YouTube channel, which is just Doping Coaching. Once you Google Doping Coaching or you Google Doping and Co, it pulls up our YouTube channel. I will ask most people that are interested to be able to subscribe to that channel. One of the things Doping and Co does is we create some value. So we provide useful and valuable information on our channel. We put up a couple of videos that could be relevant, not just for coaching, but for people's personal lives altogether. We also have an Instagram page, which is in doping underscore CO, which they can also be able to follow. So those are ways or means. Even our Facebook page is also doping coaching, and people can be able to follow us on Facebook as well to be able to get some information.
Okay. Yeah, so Doping and Co, thank you for coming. I thought this was a very interesting conversation. We learned a lot. We might all need coaches after this, but we have you to come to, and we're glad that you were able to make time to come to the show today. So this is the Idle Park Talk Show, and we were joined by
Doping. Full names are Robert Doping of Doping and Co, and I really appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.